My name is Jeff Schwartz, and I am the Executive Director of Broad Community Connections in New Orleans. I love food because food is really the soul of New Orleans. Well, so the organization that I run, Broad Community Connections, is a small community development organization. We had identified, working with community partners and residents and other stakeholders, food access as being one of the biggest issues, if not the biggest issue, confronting the community. And so we worked really hard at this vacant grocery store site to try and get a grocery interested. It took forever to get somebody interested, and we actually had to end up getting the property under contract ourselves instead of just finding a grocer who would do a project on their own. And what we realized as we were going through that process, it took about 4 years, starting in 2010, that you can't just put a grocery store down in a community and expect any sort of health outcomes or community development outcomes to change. And so what we did was we went out and found other nonprofit partners who were working in areas of youth and workforce development or culinary and nutrition education, other wraparound services like gardening or fitness classes or SNAP and WIC enrollment. And we really tried to find other partners who could bring those services to the table and be in the building co-located with a grocery store. With the whole idea of the Refresh Project being that food can anchor a lot of these activities that we want to see in the community.
And you were actually having trouble finding a grocer to come into this.
We did, yes. So what was really interesting was that until we actually talked to the actual CEO of Whole Foods, Walter Robb, it was really tough finding anybody who saw the Broad Street neighborhoods as a place where they wanted to invest. So we talked to the existing operators in New Orleans. We talked to folks outside of New Orleans who we thought might be interested and who kind of fit the affordability and quality sort of middle ground that we wanted. We talked to startup grocers, and so ultimately it was really the stars just sort of aligned. Timing is everything. We ended up getting connected with the really, the tip of the flagpole at Whole Foods, and they love this idea. They actually launched a foundation at the grand opening of the store called the Whole Cities Foundation, which is all about promoting fresh food access and healthy lifestyles in underserved communities, which is, basically exactly what we're trying to do here. And so they saw this as very much sort of a pilot and trying to figure out what works. And they've been doing really amazing things in terms of affordability, putting things on sale that they might not otherwise do. And what was really interesting was on opening day, I actually heard an NPR story, a local NPR story about how it was essentially just going around asking folks in the neighborhood, like, what do you think? Like, are you concerned about gentrification? Are you concerned about some of the other things? And there was a lady actually in the laundromat across the street that was interviewed, and she said, why are we not worthy of high quality investment? Who's to say that we can't afford that or can't afford it? We've just never been given that opportunity to access fresh food in that way. Our mission is about bringing communities and bringing people together, and so there really is no better way to do that, whether you're trying to provide food access or trying to get at-risk kids to engage in a life skills training program. Food is really it's a uniter, and it's really a way of engaging people on sort of wherever they're at on any level.